Let's begin with what's expected from the Health Ministry. All eyes are on the new Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia, and he's getting down to business. The newly inducted Union Cabinet has approved the allocation of a new emergency response package worth 23,123 crore rupees. This is to tackle the COVID pandemic. Mandavia has also assured the nation on the issue of vaccine supply.
The all-new Team Modi has hit the ground running. In its first cabinet meet after the expansion, the government has decided on an additional 23,123 crore rupees emergency response fund to fight the next wave of COVID-19. Out of the 23,000 crore rupees, 15,000 crore rupees will be borne by the centre and the rest by the states.
23,000 करोड़ रुपीस का एक पैकेज है। ये पैकेज में कुल मिला के केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार दोनों साथ में मिलके उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करेंगे और ये पैसा स्टेट को दिया जाएगा। केंद्र सरकार की ओर से 15,000 करोड़ रुपीस दिया जाएगा और राज्य सरकार 8,000 करोड़ रुपीस निकालेगी।
The package also includes a provision for 20,000 new ICU beds. 20% of the beds will be meant for children. A provision has also been made for setting up 736 district pediatric care units. All this keeping in mind that the third wave may affect children more.
भविष्य में बच्चों में कोविड का फैलावा हो तो उसके सामने हम कैसी व्यवस्था करें, एक कुल मिला के ये सारे विषय को जोड़ के ये पैकेज बनाया गया है।
2.4 lakh beds will be arranged under this package. The COVID mission will be implemented within the next 9 months. Drawing the vaccine roadmap, the centre says it will vaccinate all within the time frame set.
मुफ्त वैक्सीन का अभियान चल रहा है और उसके लिए प्रोडक्शन और सप्लाई का मैप बना हुआ है। 75% गवर्नमेंट की ओर से वैक्सीनेशन किया जा रहा है। उसके लिए जो भी खर्च होगा वो भारत सरकार उठाएगी।
With vaccination, the sole shield against the coronavirus, the health minister has his task cut out. But ensuring adequate availability of vaccine doses is proving to be a Herculean task. With Milan Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has laid out his roadmap for the new ministers. India Today has accessed inside details of the Prime Minister's first cabinet meet with his new ministers. And the Prime Minister's message to the ministers is that their work should speak for itself. Now, he also asked the ministers to channelize their energy to ministerial work. According to sources, Prime Minister Modi told ministers to avoid making unnecessary statements. Referring to high-profile exits of top ministers, Prime Minister Modi told all the new ministers, to meet their predecessors and learn from their experience. He also asked them to take development schemes to the people and to continue taking feedback from them. He's also asked his mantris to reach office on time, to be punctual. So the new ministers have their task cut out. There are 5 ministries that would be watched very, very closely. They have a mammoth task at hand, from tackling the pandemic to also jump-starting the economy. We decode the deliverables of the new Modi cabinet.
Brand new Team Modi checks in. Fresh ideas, fresh faces. Ministers hit the ground running after taking oath on Wednesday. They have their task cut out. A raging pandemic affecting schools and exams, a troubled aviation sector, and a massive face-off with microblogging platform Twitter, and legally shielding Modi government's governance drive. We check 5 big deliverables of key ministries. Amidst the COVID pandemic, all eyes are on Mansukh Mandavia, the new Union Health Minister. Preparing for the third wave and ensuring there is no repeat of earlier mistakes would be the top priority for the Health Minister. Also on priority will be boosting health infrastructure, ramping up the vaccination drive and helping medical students in COVID war.
स्वास्थ्य मंत्री के रूप में प्रधानमंत्री जी की अपेक्षा के अनुसार मैं काम करने की कोशिश करूंगा.
Schools, colleges and education system have been hit hard and Dharmendra Pradhan is the man tasked to find a robust solution. On his target will be restarting schools and streamlining exams. Jyotiraditya Scindia, following in his father's footsteps, has bagged the Civil Aviation Ministry and managing the post-pandemic resumption of passenger flights will be his top priority. Navigating the international flight ban and overseeing Air India's disinvestment would be something he would be judged on.
जो जिम्मेदारी उन्होंने मुझे दी है, पूरी लगन से, पूरी निष्ठा से और पूरी क्षमता से इस जिम्मेदारी को निभाने की मैं कोशिश करूंगा और मुझे आशा है कि जो अपेक्षाएं हैं उन अपेक्षाओं पर मैं खड़े उतरूंगा.
The new IT laws are a big flashpoint between Twitter and Centre, and settling the dispute will be a big challenge for the new IT Minister, Ashwini Vaishnav. Overseeing the rollout of India's 5G network and boosting reach of Modi's Digital India would be among his top priorities.
भारत में रहने वाले हर व्यक्ति को, भारत में काम करने वाली हर कंपनी को, सभी को भारत के नियम मानने चाहिए.
अगर वो नहीं मानते क्योंकि आपकी तरफ से नोटिस गया है, वो मंत्रालय
पूरा इसका स्टडी करूंगा.
Law graduate Kiran Rijiju has been given the law ministry.
What I'm saying is, whatever charge comes to us, whatever responsibility is assigned, we have to discharge it with full commitment. We are collective, people working together as a team. So these are collective responsibilities. As a member of the Council of Ministers, we all are part of the same team.
Delivering on BJP's promise of uniform civil code, streamlining the fight over sedition law and UAPA are his big hurdles. Implementing the Citizenship Amendment Act and harmonizing central policy with opposition states are also on his priority list. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, what we've been seeing in the last few days is tourists flocking the hills amid a fear of a third wave. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that people crowding places, not adhering to COVID protocol, not wearing masks, not maintaining social distancing is not a pleasant sight and a huge cause of concern.
Maskless tourist at Kempty Falls in Mussoorie, throwing all social distancing norms to the wind. Tourists flocking to the hills without any precautions. As pandemic revenge travel continues unabated, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has issued an alert. With fears of possible third wave looming large, PM Modi's big warning came at the first cabinet meet after the big reshuffle. In the meeting, the PM expressed concerns over the brazen COVID rule violations. The PM told his Council of Ministers that images of crowded places and people moving without masks is not a pleasant sight. PM Modi added that there should be no place for carelessness and complacency. A single mistake would have far-reaching consequences. The PM's warning comes even as thousands are heading to the hills to get a respite from the heat wave that is scorching the North Indian plains.
भीड़ से दूर रहने का समय निकल गया. अब आप घूमने फिरने आओ, नज़ारे लो जिंदगी के.
कोरोना का डर तो है, लेकिन घर में हम बहुत बोर हो चुके हैं बैठ के, इसलिए तो थोड़ी आउटिंग करने का मन हुआ, इसलिए निकले.
दिल्ली हुई या आसपास कहीं पे भी लोग ना फ्रस्ट्रेट हो चुके हैं, उनको निकलना है बाहर. और हम खुद इतने फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गए थे दिल्ली में रह के कोरोना की वजह से, लॉकडाउन की वजह से, तो एक ब्रेक चाहिए था.
So far, all warnings by the government have fallen on deaf ears.
क्लियरली दिख रहा है कि एक स्थाई पर, जिसे एक टर्म भी बोली गई है रिवेंज ट्रैवल, कि लोग जो घर में बैठे थे, जो रेस्ट्रिक्शन का समय था, अगर रेस्ट्रिक्शंस खोल दी गई तो वायरस खत्म हो गया है। यह ऐसा एक माहौल क्रिएट करेगा जिसमें अब तक जो गेन इन टर्म्स ऑफ मैनेजमेंट ऑफ कोविड जो हमने लिए हैं वह फिर से नलीफाई हो सकते हैं, वह फिर से हम उसको भूल के फिर हमें एक और चैलेंज का सामना करना पड़ सकता है।
Though daily cases have plummeted, there is no room to drop guard. But if COVIDiots don't mend their ways, we will be inviting a third wave upon us. Bureau Report, India Today.
After a lull of 5 months, the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir is unfortunately heating up again. A group of Pakistani terrorists attempted to infiltrate into our side. This was in the Sundarbani sector of Rajouri. The terrorists were challenged and engaged in a fierce gunfight by the army, leading to the elimination of both the infiltrators. 2 army jawans unfortunately were also killed in action. This is the first major infiltration attempt by terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir after the February ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan. On Wednesday, a Pakistani infiltrator was shot at by the army in Nowshera sector along the line of control. 2 soldiers were injured in that firefight with the terrorists as they foiled the infiltration bid. Locals in Sundarbani, meanwhile, showered flowers on the remains of the slain army jawans and paid their respects to the fallen soldiers. Moving on to some other stories, here's a report on how the Yogi Adityanath government has sparked a row after announcing a tribute to the Ram Mandir movement Kar Sevaks. The UP Deputy Chief Minister has announced that roads will be named after Kar Sevaks who lost their lives during the movement. The opposition is accusing the government now of playing communal politics.
6 months ahead of Uttar Pradesh polls, the Yogi Adityanath government has sparked a big controversy. UP Deputy CM Keshav Prasad Maurya has announced roads in the state will be named after Kar Sevaks as a mark of respect to participants in the Ram Janmabhoomi movement.
आज हम लोगों ने यहाँ भी एक घोषणा की है कि जो बलिदानी राम भक्त हैं, चाहे वो 30 अक्टूबर 90 हो, चाहे 2 नवंबर 90 हो, जो बलिदानी राम भक्त हैं उनके घर तक की सड़क को भी कार सेवक मार्ग के नाम से हम बनाएंगे और उसमें वह बलिदानी जो राम भक्त हैं उनका नाम भी लिखेंगे, उनका फोटो भी लगाएंगे.
Maurya visited Ayodhya on Tuesday to unveil the statue of a car sevak named Achal Gupta who died during the Mandir movement. The statue was erected in 2018, but the unveiling took 3 years.
यहाँ पे मूर्ति जो है 2018 में स्थापित कर दिया गया था. अच्छा महसूस हो रहा है, बहुत बड़ी हम लोगों को खुशी है कि कम से कम हम लोगों की मांग पूरी हुई और केशव प्रसाद मौर्य जी आकर के मूर्ति का अनावरण किया. बहुत खुशी की बात है.
The decision to felicitate car sevaks has not gone down well with the opposition.
जैसे ही चुनाव आता है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी जाति धर्म की राजनीति का खेल शुरू कर देती है, लेकिन उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता इस बार बहुत होशियार है. वो काम के नाम पे वोट करेगी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी का खेल तमाम कर देगी.
जनता को विकास के काम चाहिए, अयोध्या को विकास चाहिए, पारदर्शी विकास चाहिए, भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त विकास चाहिए, चंदा चोर नहीं चाहिए अयोध्या को. आप पारदर्शी विकास कीजिए, उसके बाद उस विकास का नाम किसी के नाम पर रखिए.
The Ram Mandir movement had propelled the BJP from just 2 Lok Sabha seats in 1984 to power at the centre and in UP. The issue still strikes an emotional chord now that the temple construction project is underway. With inputs from Abhishek Mishra in Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.
And in a shocking display of a minister clearly on a power trip, the Tamil Nadu Fisheries Minister Anita Radhakrishnan was seen being carried by fishermen just to save his pristine white dhoti and sneakers from getting wet.
The fishermen of Palavarkadu, this historic coastal town north of Chennai, had a VIP visitor this week. Tamil Nadu's Fisheries Minister Anita Radhakrishnan of the DMK. You'd think a minister visiting to get a sense of the grievances of fisher folk wouldn't mind getting his feet wet. But you'd be wrong. The minister, clad in a clean white dhoti, shirt and sneakers, didn't want to touch the water and had to be carried by a fisherman and deposited safely on the shore. The irony here, Minister Radhakrishnan was on site to investigate complaints about sea erosion in this part of coastal Tamil Nadu. Eyewitnesses on the ground say the boat in which the minister was travelling was overloaded, and the transfer of the minister to the shore took place after some persons got off the boat. But that hasn't stopped allegations of unnecessary VIP behaviour by the new Mantri.
DMK talking so big about equality, social justice and the rights of the state. This is yet another testimony that they don't walk the talk. They just to catch the attention of the people for votes. When it comes to reality, they follow a different route.
This is something ridiculous, and I think he has to apologize in front of the people, and I think this should not continue. The power is going into each and every minister's head in DMK.
But the minister was unfazed when India Today posed questions to him.
தன்னால நடந்து வர முடியாதா, இன்னொருத்தவங்க மதியில ஏறி வரணுமா, இது விஐபி கல்ச்சர் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு பிரச்சனை. என்னன்னா ஒருத்தருடைய தோள்ல அவங்க சொன்னாலும் ஏறலாமா ஒரு அமைச்சர் அப்படின்னு கேக்குறாங்க. அதுக்கு
பாசமா யாருன்னா யாரும்
இருந்தாலும்
யாருன்னு சொல்றாங்கல்ல, அதை சொல்லுங்க முதல்ல.
State Fisheries Minister Anita Radhakrishnan caught in an act of appreciating VVIP culture. Opposition demands apology, but the minister claims that if a fisherman cannot carry the fisheries minister, who else can, making everybody wonder if he really understands the problem.
Radhakrishnan may be the new fisheries minister, but he's had a long political career. 2 decades ago, he was a minister in the then Jayalalitha government, the DMK's rival. He was expelled by the AIA-DMK in 2009 for anti-party activities. The same year, he jumped to arch-rival the DMK. He would go on to win elections in 2009 and 2011. No stranger to controversy, he was suspended by the DMK in 2015 for greeting his former boss Jayalalitha after she received a reprieve in the disproportionate assets case. But as an election winner, he has prevailed and was made Fisheries Minister by Chief Minister M.K. Stalin this year. For someone who's seen so many political twists and turns, what's the big deal getting your feet wet? And shoes a little dirty. With Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
As COVID cases surge in Japan, the government has declared a 2-week emergency, and this is ahead of the Olympics. Tokyo is still preparing to host the Showpiece Global event despite protests, despite criticism. And now there will be no fans that are allowed for the entire Olympic event.
Despite protests and criticism round the globe, Tokyo is preparing itself to host the Olympic Games that are scheduled to begin 2 weeks from now. Japan's capital city has been decked up for the Showpiece Global event. But even as the city gears up for the world's biggest sporting spectacle, COVID cases are on the rise. A state of emergency has been declared in Tokyo that will run through the duration of the Olympics. The worsening situation means the games will be robbed of all the pomp with no spectators allowed for the events now. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said it was essential to prevent Tokyo, where the highly infectious Delta COVID-19 variant was spreading, from becoming the source of another wave of infections.
重症者の数や病床の利用率は低い水準にとどまっておりますが、変異株の影響を考慮し、再び全国への感染拡大を波及させないためにも対策を強化する必要があります。こうした状況を踏まえ、緊急事態宣言を東京都を対象に発出し、また沖縄県については延長することとし、期間を8月22日までとすること。
The organizers have also laid down strict rules for testing as well as movement of athletes. Over 500 participants and officials have already arrived in Tokyo to participate in the games.
It's very difficult. I think it is difficult to hold it.
東京オリンピックに命がけで練習してきた選手もいると思うので開催した方がいいと思います。
The new 68,000 capacity Japan National Stadium, the main venue for the Olympics, will host some of the major events, including the opening and closing ceremonies. The stadium is currently undergoing last-minute preparations before it hosts the opening ceremony for the Olympics scheduled for 23rd of this month.
This is one of the major stadiums that is going to host some of the most important events, including the opening and the closing ceremonies. And the preparations are on full swing here, as you can see behind me. On the other hand, almost 500 athletes and officials have already arrived in Tokyo to participate in the Summer Games. And the health experts have warned of a possible fifth wave during the Tokyo Olympics. This is Paulami Burman from Tokyo for India Today.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of First Up. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Stay tuned to India Today. I'll continue getting you the latest news and updates.